A common question I get is how I manage paper receipts and accounting records as an entrepreneur. There's a ton of receipt scanning apps out there, and I hate them all. In this video, I'm going to show you my free hack that I use to digitize, store, and sort my paper receipts for tax time. Also, stay tuned to the end because I'm going to share a free custom tool that I built for your phone that I think is the fastest way to capture receipts. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hussein. I've been a small business owner and a landlord for over a decade, and I love solving business problems with tech solutions. Let's go. Okay, here's the hack. Email. Good old-fashioned email. No matter how small your business is, you have to start thinking of your business like a business. And all legit businesses have an accounting department, and so should you. So I set up a brand new dedicated email, and I route all my receipts, invoices, and accounting related items there, just like a business would for their accounting department. And here's why. Number one, email is free. No upfront cost, no monthly subscriptions, none of that. Number two, email is already built into all of your devices already. It's on your phone, it's on your tablet, it's on your laptop, no extra logins or another app to manage, you're already using it. Number three, and probably the biggest reason I don't like those receipt scanning apps, is that paper receipts are only half the battle. The other half of the battle and of the things that you need for tax time are already getting sent to you via email. For example, if you order anything online for your business, like on Amazon.com, they're sending you an email receipt. Also, things like rent, mortgages, utilities, bills like that, you're getting email receipts for those too. In my line of work as a landlord, I deal with a lot of contractors and people doing work on houses, and 9 out of 10 times, they're also sending me an email receipt, not a paper receipt. And also, a lot of in-person shopping places like Home Depot, Walmart, a lot of restaurants and coffee shops will give you an option for an email receipt right away instead of a paper one. And I even have my paper mail coming to my email via a virtual mailbox service that I use. If you haven't checked out my video, I did a whole video about what a virtual mailbox is and why I use one and why it lets me be location independent. I'll throw the link in the description or somewhere for you to check it out. All right, so let's talk about how to set this whole thing up. So like I mentioned before, you want to make a dedicated email address, a brand new email address that's just used specifically for your accounting and invoicing documents. Again, this is your accounting department that you're setting up. As far as doing this, I like to use gmail.com, and I use Gmail for a couple different reasons. Number one is they have some of the best integrations with Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and this will become important later when I show how this sort of connects to my whole file management system. So when you're setting up the email, you have a couple choices of what you pick for the email name. What I like to do is I like to set something up that is your business name books at gmail.com. For example, if I was doing this for this channel, it would be tech savvy landlord books at gmail.com. And that's what I would use. It actually sounds a little long. Maybe I might shorten it, but I would do something like that. So let's pop in and let me show you what mine looks like right now for my rental business. All right, so we're in here right now. Let's see. So if I click on one here, this is a receipt that I took, looks like at Menards for a repair on a property. I wrote the property name on top and I just took a picture of it and just emailed it here. Let's see what we got here. This is something that got forwarded directly from Home Depot because I have that set up to forward here. Again, looks like an invoice for something that got sent electronically. And that's sort of what I was talking about before. So some of the receipts that you capture are paper receipts. And you see I have paper receipts, but a lot of what you're capturing are things that are coming electronically anyway, like thank you for your order type stuff. And it's all being funneled to one place. All right, let me tell you why I think this is so powerful. So once you have your receipts and invoices and all your stuff in this email, let's say you're, for example, doing your accounting and you're realizing that you're missing a transaction for, let's say, $63.03. And I already searched for this one, so I know it's here. So if I type in 6303, what it'll do is it'll pull up a receipt, and in here, in the actual receipt, the term 6303 is in there. So once you have your things here, the technology can search within an image of something that you're looking for. So let's say, for example, let's look at Menards. That's a popular vendor here in the Midwest. So if I type in Menards, it will show up every receipt associated with Menards, not because I wrote Menards, but because Menards is written somewhere in the text of the receipt. So that is powerful. The other thing is Things here, when you have a receipt digitized, it doesn't fade. It stays here forever. Relatively speaking, Google will give you like unlimited storage. Not unlimited, but for the sake of what you're capturing, it's pretty unlimited. And it's timestamps and dates, so you can search for everything from 2023, for example, if you wanted to. So I sort of like to call this the digital shoebox. And I'll talk later about, why I do this and how you can sort of organize or supercharge this for like a file management system. And a pro tip is it doesn't have to be you actually organizing this. So if you're enjoying this course and you are a landlord, I actually got the whole inspiration and idea from this by going through a course called Full-Time Landlord, Part-Time Work. It's just chock full of a bunch of tips and solutions to save time and money for managing your rental properties. I actually know the owner who runs the course. Awesome guy, so I'd highly recommend checking out that. I'll drop the link in the description if you're interested. You're probably thinking what I'm thinking the first time I heard this. Yeah, this is great, but it sort of sounds like a pain in the butt to get all this information over to one email address. So let's talk about that next. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, you're sort of dealing with two buckets of stuff. You have the things that are paper receipts that you need to get over to this email, and then you have the things that are already probably being emailed to you, but they're not coming to this new email that you just created. So let's talk about both of those here. On the paper receipt side, you do need to snap a photo of that receipt with your phone. If you're an iPhone user, you're in luck. What I promised at the beginning of the video is something I'll share with you in the description. It's called a shortcut. It allows you to take a photo right from the lock screen and email it to an email address that you select already, so you can do it in like 3 button clicks. If you are an Android user, I'm looking for a solution for Android. I actually paid somebody to try to figure out a solution, and I just couldn't figure out something that was just as slick as on the iPhone side. Not to say Android versus iPhone, but if anybody knows how to do this for an Android, please throw it in the comment section because I would love to know. All right, so this is how it works. So I added this little shortcut button here, and if I'm in a store, I will hold this down and it automatically loads up my camera. I'm gonna go ahead and pull a receipt here just to take a photo of it. So I'm gonna snap a photo of this, and then I'll have to hit confirm photo. So I'll just hit use photo here, and that's it. What's happening in the background is it knows to email that receipt over to the email that I already set up and selected. All right, so over in the computer, this is the email that just got sent over. So one, it pulls out all the information here so I can search via all this stuff. And then I can also search with what's in the photo for me. So this is what I'm doing directly from the store. And I think that's the quickest way to capture a receipt. For the items that are already getting emailed to you and you just need to get them over to this dedicated email address, the first thing I would check is a lot of businesses allow you to have 2 emails, one primary email and then one billing email. So what I do is I'll keep the regular one as my email that I had before, but I'll change the billing email to that dedicated new email that I set up. So here's a quick example, Zoom.com. So under billing management, they allow you to put a different email for your billing email. So I have doablelivingbooks@gmail.com for my billing email, but then everything else just goes to my regular email. So if the business doesn't allow you to set up 2 different emails, then the next thing you can do is just forward the receipts and invoices from your primary email over to this dedicated email. So a good example for me is homedepot.com. They only let me have 1 email address. So I'll show you how I set that up in Gmail. So this is my primary email, and I just searched Home Depot up here so you can see everything that comes from Home Depot. They'll send me verification codes, they'll send me your orders ready, they'll send me a bunch of stuff. And the only thing I want to go over to my new dedicated accounting email is my receipts. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up a filter and forward this over to the other email, and it's a thing that you just set up once. So I'm gonna go and search your electronic receipt here. And if I search your electronic receipt, a bunch of stuff comes up because it's trying to search for your electronic and receipt. But if you put this in parentheses here, so now this is everything I searched here. These are all my electronic receipts. You just want to make sure nothing else you don't want captured is there. Next, I'm going to go ahead and hit this button up here to look at a filter, and I'm going to hit create filter. Once you're in here, I'm gonna go ahead and hit forward to, and you can see I already have Doable Living Books selected as the forwarding email address. If you don't, just hit add forwarding email address so you can add whatever you want. And then after that, you just hit create filter. If you want it to apply to things that you've already have in there, you can also hit apply to the other stuff, and then it'll just forward all the other stuff too. But usually I just sort of start with a clean break and do it like that. And if the auto forwarding is too complicated or you don't want to set that up, you could just manually forward all the receipts and invoices to your other email. So far, we've created what I like to call the digital shoebox. Instead of a paper shoebox with all your receipts, this is a digital one. It's searchable and the stuff stores there forever, which is awesome. But I like to take it one step further. So I actually hired a virtual assistant at a very low cost who I gave access to this email, and that's the person who actually goes through and sorts stuff and does the bookkeeping for me in my actual software. So I have a video about how I do that, so definitely check that out next.